So while this is primarily a reference book, one of the things that I wanted to do with it was actually convey some feel for how these rifles were actually used historically in combat. So I have been going through today, working on some of my editing, and I realized it would be really cool to give you guys a taste of that with an excerpt from one of my references here, Our Friends Beneath the Sands by Martin Windrow. And this is from Western Algeria in 1900. So, let's see. About 4:10 a.m., Serhant heard shots, and shortly afterwards, Sergeant Leger's Spahis returned at a gallop, spurring up the hillock and into the square of kneeling and lying legionnaires. In the dim but growing light before sunrise, the captain saw shadowy masses of riders following them. There seemed to be about 400 to 500 Arabs in three separate groups, each with a flag, and they came on fast on three sides of the company's position. When they were about 500 yards away, Serhant gave the order to open fire by volleys. At that distance, individual targets were invisible, but firing into the masses began to do damage at once, and riderless horses bolted past. Arab horsemen came on, shouting insults and firing from the saddle, and warriors on foot followed them, taking up firing positions among folds in the ground. At some point, Lieutenant Poli returned from the south after reporting to Bishamin, and rode up another hillock to try and pick out a route by which his men could safely rejoin the square. At that moment, the Dawimani charged Serhant's position again from about 200 yards. The legionnaires fired steadily, bringing down the foremost riders, but a few actually got up the hillock and inside the square before they were killed. Others flowed past to the south, and on the valley floor they ran right into Poli's 4th platoon, shooting down soldiers and mules alike. The square could not give effective support for fear of hitting their own comrades. 4 of Poli's men, marching on foot, led by Corporal Eric, showed admirable calm. Kneeling and firing as fast as they could work the bolts of their labels, they stretched out about 15 riders in the dust around them before the Arabs left them alone in search of easier prey. Legionnaires reported seeing several riders leaning down in the saddle to snatch up wounded or unhorsed warriors behind them. A little bit later on, the sun was now above the eastern dunes, and its flat rays soaked into the west side of the valley with golden light. Serhant ordered his legionnaires to set their sights between 1,600 and 2,000 yards, probably meters, and fired some measured volleys. Watching the results through binoculars, he spotted kicked-up dust and adjusted fire until he saw flurries among the riders, confirming the label's effectiveness even at a mile. So, hopefully that'll add some cool little flair and flavor to the book.